Hello, this is Beta Ray Ben for Pixel Spank, and welcome back to another Box of Intrigue episode. I'm staring at the box. I'm going to reach in and grab for something. What is it? Oh, this is the box you get with Legend of Zelda 4 Swords Adventure. Specifically, if you buy the GameCube version, there's only a GameCube version, that comes with a link cable adapter, which links the GBA to the GameCube. And there's that black warranty instruction thing. I don't even is it in these days, those days. Yeah, it's the safety information. Hilarious. They have to include it by law, but you know no one on earth has ever actually looked at it. Fortunately, this box actually came with an actual game box with the game in it, so this wasn't something you needed to hold on to. But oh, and it opened like a proper box, but I apparently ripped it open when I was younger, so good on me. That was a quick one, wasn't it? Let's reach in and grab again. What's another box? It's the box for Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask. With no insert. Is there any paperwork for it? No, can't see any. I suspect there wouldn't be any anyway, because I didn't buy this myself. Well, I did. I brought it second hand. I didn't buy it new, is the answer there. Meaning it's I should be careful with this, really. I've got the game, it's over there. Majora's Mask had a gold cartridge. Ocarina of Time didn't, just had standard grey for N64. But Majora's Mask had gold. Yeah, I've never really played Majora's Mask. The closest I came was the GameCube, not really remake, the re-release that you got with the Zelda Anniversary disc. I played it a bit, but didn't really get into it too much. I do intend to play it. I'm hoping they re-release the 3D re-release they did for Switch in some fashion. If not, I'll have to play it on 3DS, but I don't really want to. I could never play the N64 version because although I did buy this after the fact, I don't have a working expansion pack, which is entirely required to play it. But you know, I have methods of playing it. I feel I should set that aside gently because that might add value to something somewhere. Looking at this, I can see a lot of game cases, so I'm going to go with game cases today, including this. Well, this is a treat, right? This is a somewhat unopened copy of WCW, possibly /NWO, Revenge. See, okay, let me think. There was WWF, World Wrestling Federation. There's WCW, which was, I want to say World Wrestling Corporation, but that doesn't make sense. And then they combined to WWE, which is what we have now. WCW Nitro? No. W/NWO Revenge. Puts the power of the world's biggest, baddest and meanest wrestlers from WCW and NWO in your hands. It's the most realistic, all-round fighting experience you've ever... Yeah, I can't even read it. Yeah, so you can see it says bog off on the front. I definitely got this as part of a buy one get one free on N64 games. I know what happened. I wanted a different game, and like that, it was like there was one okay-ish game in the stack. I was like, I'll have that. It's on buy one get one free. What else is there? And I think it was literally all sports titles, which there's always sports titles. No one wants them because when you're getting rid of your N64 collection, you'll keep your Mario, you'll keep your Zelda, you'll get rid of your FIFA 98 or whatever. So I think this was like the best of the bad lot. It's entirely unopened. I don't know if this is actually original packaging or not, to be honest. It could have been repackaged by GameStation, who later got bought out by Game and then entirely replaced by them. But I don't know, it's half coming off anyway. I don't think this has any value anywhere, so I'm gonna take that off. $24.99 price on that, which is quite reasonable in most respects, isn't it? For a boxed game. That's like that plastic has somehow aged terribly. Let's see that in there. Yeah, it's clearly not new, looking at this now. I can see a lot of wear and tear. There's actually clearly been sellotape on the front of this that's been taken off. I feel like I should know any of those guys on the front, but I don't really at all. I think that could be Hulk Hogan, but it looks the wrong age. It's made by THQ. They didn't exist for a while. I think they exist again. Oh, okay. Oh, right. So I got the cartridge. Are those basically unused? Totally unused. Or a good weight to an N64 cartridge. That, which I feel realistically, if I leave that with the Majora's Mask box, and then we're halfway to a full box there. If I throw in the that safety information there, all I need is an instruction booklet, and I'm there. If you're not familiar, games used to come with small printed material telling you how to play. If you're really lucky, they'd be in colour, which this one is. I remember there was a big thing about EA saying, right, we're no longer printing our instruction books in colour, it's too expensive. And it just made all the screenshots look awful. And then they just sort of got rid of it entirely. Always my favourite bit of instruction books is that page 1 is always literally, is literal instructions for how to play. This one tells you how the control stick works. Which I suppose makes sense, because it would be new to you at the time. Getting started, warning, never is yet. Make sure the power is off, insert the game pack, turn the power on, at the title screen, press start. I mean, it seems obvious, but without it, you wouldn't have it. This hardcore game puts the power of the big... Yeah, I've already read that. There's nothing on that page. There's just a little tiny bit of text down there, and then the rest is just all artwork. And, well, weird artwork at that. Oh, wow. There's actual pictures of wrestlers in here. It's really weird as well, because they're not really placed. They're just... and they're not stylized in any way. This is just photos of wrestlers. It's a particular favourite of mine so far. I feel like that could be... No, I'm not even going to guess because I'll get it wrong, but yeah, they've just thrown him in there. Alright. Wrestling games always have very obtuse movesets in my opinion, because you can't just come in the ring and punch someone to death. It's all about like combos and stuff, but because wrestling doesn't really make any sense anyway, the games make even less sense. It's a grey section in the middle, and then it goes back to the orange motif. This is genuinely an in-depth set of like instructions. Games don't remotely need that now. The spirit meter. Leagues. Oh, a little thing at the end advertising the strategy guide, which this basically is at this point. Empire Wrestling. Dead or Alive Wrestling. Huh? Leagues. Oh, wait, hang on. No. World Championship Wrestling is what WCW stands for. Good. Order your copy now. 0121 706 6000. And that's the bit that gets me. There's a website underneath. I think of N64 as being entirely pre-internet, but then there's a website, so obviously it's not. It's an odd thing. Uncensored action. Order the latest videos. And there's a technical support number at the end. Well, that's a hell of a thing, that. I've had that for years, just sat there, untouched. Alright, what are we going to find next? Just pick this out here at random. Oh, this is the box to Turok 2, Seeds of Evil. That has a black cartridge, as opposed to the standard grey. Played it for the channel, it's a great game. It's got a Nintendo official magazine rating of awesome on the front there. Meaning it came, no, doesn't mean anything. 15 license. Expansion pack compatible, which means I didn't have it and I don't know what that does. I think it made more enemies appear or some nonsense. Ah, See, this game was also in a bog-off deal. There was a time when I used to just buy N64 games because it was in that niche where there were many available and they were quite cheap, or sort of cheap. They're more expensive now, and they're kind of harder to find the good ones anyway. In shops, this is. You can find them online. And the Game Station at the time very kindly put stickers directly on the cardboard box. As you can imagine, they don't come off at all. They're fused to the box, which is hugely annoying. But they're only on the sides, so fair play to them there. Like, if you're gonna damage the box, they've picked literally the best spot is both ends. But still, it's an annoyance. But the boxes they don't really sit nicely anyway. In pristine condition, they look great when you're in a shop. But like any amount of handling just annihilates these things. How many have I done? 5. Let's get a bit more. What's this? Some loose materials here. Oh, this is the instructions to Lord of the Rings: The Two Towers on GBA. And these are the instructions to Kirby: The Amazing Mirror. Note the difference in size, right? This one's EA, and it is in black and white, like I said, despite the fact that it's got screenshots in there. It's in black and white, and it's only in English, which, as far as I'm aware, you're not allowed to do in Europe. You have to print it in all the different languages. Or, no. If they can produce different ones for different locations, I suppose. This is the GBA Kirby and the Amazing Mirror. Great game. This is Nintendo produced, obviously. This is also in black and white. Okay, fair play. I was about to get on them about that. And it's in 6 different languages: English, German, French, whatever they speak in the Netherlands, Spanish and Italian. How many pages is it? I now want to know, just for reference sake. So that's about 20. That's 22 pages. This one for GBA, this game, is 26. So similar size actually. All right, fair play EA. You've done a good job by just printing less in general. Somehow you've made it shorter. Not sure how that's possible. And wider. One of these has become an awkward shape. I think this is actually the more awkward one because it fits almost exactly in a box. Which, I have actually got one. Yes, this is a GBA box. That's the size of them. You can see it fits in there quite squarely. This is Castlevania Double Pack, another game I played for the channel. This gave you Harmony of Dissonance and Aria of Sorrow, which I think were both PlayStation releases, but I'm not actually certain about that because this is the first time I played either of them. I think I actually played the sequel to Aria of Sorrow first, which doesn't make sense because it came out on DS and must have logically come out after this. Oh well. This is clearly from a later period in my life where I thought, I'll keep hold of the boxes and the little cardboard insert, and I'll even keep the booklet in there. Christ. That is a thick bastard. I don't think I've ever even looked at this. Alright, people hate Konami. That is a full colour manual. Is it in multiple languages? Yes, it's in the 6 big languages. It's, wait, what? Oh, yeah. It's 2 games, aren't I, dumbass? I opened the first page to this where you can't see, it's very small. It tells you the page numbers for the different manuals. I was like, why is English on there twice? It's actually only in 3 languages, which I think French and Italian, maybe? Probably can't release it in Germany for weird censorship rules. So the first one, yeah, one game has 12 pages and the other game has about 20. I know the Aria of Sorrow will be the longer one because it's a much more complicated game. But yeah, that's a full colour manual, pictures and everything. Look at that. Actual character bios with the artwork. The artwork's important because in-game you can't normally see any kind of artwork. Here's a cheeky little thing. Speaking of artwork, this is something I have a great fondness for. because this is from my favourite ever game, Legend of Zelda, Link to the Past. Originally, the game came with a map. I never had the original. Well, this is the amount of the map I own. It's just that it's the bottom left corner. It's got the Desert of Mystery in there, a little bit of the swamps and the library, and it's got a single passage on hidden caves. Just like in the dungeons, there are walls in the overworld that can be blown up by bombs. You should also try to lift every boulder and cut down every bush. You'll never know what you'll find. And it just about shows you a hidden item, a hidden thing. So that's fine. That's a map of the light world. Presumably, the whole thing would probably go. That's about 2/3, so 1/3 lot wider, maybe a bit on the side. So about that wide, I would hazard a guess, and then it's square to the same height. But then on the back, weirdly, there's a dungeon map, a full colour dungeon map for the 3rd dungeon of the light world, and then it says next enter the dark world. So I'm presuming on the back of this it had how to play the first 3 dungeons, like full maps, which make it way easier for a start. And these are proper colour maps. They're screenshot maps. They're not like from the game. Someone would have to make these like you would a mid-noughties internet person for games. In fact, I think it might just be a guide to the one thing. I genuinely don't know. But that was in the box for Link's Awakening. I don't know that I've got any more of the box to it, actually. There is a stack of SNES titles down here. Yep, I've got the box. Here's the box. It was gold, the box. The cartridge is grey, but the box, gold. Actually, fuck me. There's a price on this. I didn't know that. So my family, not me personally, my family, it's how old the Super Nintendo is, was given the Super Nintendo along with a handful of games. Because I love the story of it. It was my aunt had it with her then boyfriend. They split up, so she didn't want it, so she just gave it to us, which is hilarious. So this is the box. On the front is the price that was paid for it. £29, not £29.99, £29. Which is it's actually very reasonable if you think about it. That's just reasonable. Can't argue with it, can you? There's a couple screenshots on the back. There's from the Eastern Temple, the first dungeon in the light world, just outside the steps you walk into. The wooden bridge you can't swim underneath, some waterfalls, and the Master Sword itself. Those 4 screenshots are enough to tell you everything you need to know about the game. If I were doing it, I'd have probably had 1 screenshot from the start where it's raining to make it look like there's different weather. Probably nothing from the Dark World, but maybe a boss fight as well. I suppose the big snake boss, the 3rd boss, because that's the most impressive looking. Maybe the knights. That's what I would do if it were me. The Legend of Zelda, A Link to the Past. Fantasy and reality collide in a land of enchantment. Venture back to Hyrule in an age of magic and heroes. This is the 3rd Zelda, I believe. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. Not including the CDI ones. The predecessors of Link and Zelda face monsters on the march when a menacing magician takes over the kingdom. It says the predecessors, so this is assuming that these are the ancestors of a prior group. I think a lot of people say Legend of Zelda, the first one, chronologically, it's like way at the back. I've got the Historia over there, but let's just bunk them, really. Only you can prevent his evil plot from shattering the land of Hyrule. In your quest, you'll venture into twisting mazes, dungeons, palaces, and shadowy forests. Test your mettle, with 2 T's and an L-E, with mighty swords and magic weapons, or heft a boulder and hurl it at your enemies. If the going gets tough, dive into a river. You can swim to escape. Learn powerful spells, locate magical artifacts, and solve the mysteries of the evil magician and the hidden realm of Hyrule. This exciting Super NES sequel to The Legend of Zelda and The Adventure of Link uses 16-bit power to create a quest so colourful and detailed, you don't just play it, you live it. Includes battery backup to save your progress. Contents contains English language instructions only. Warranties, nothing superb there. That's a gutsy front there. There's no character art or anything, just the symbol. And I don't think you even have that shield. I reckon somewhere I've got part of the manual. The manual is in a similar state to the other one. Nope, that's not it. Not even sure what that is. No. I'll go through these one day on this. On another video. This is all that remains of my Legend of Zelda manual. Link to the past. There's no front cover. Obviously, that ripped off. I believe, judging by the way it looks, that's all that's missing is the front cover. So there's contents page. I'm being very delicate with this because I'm very fond of it. There's the full backstory of the game, which I don't know is in the actual text at the start. I think it is. The Legends of Hyrule, the creation of Hyrule, gates to the Golden Land. There's a song, or a poem perhaps. In a realm beyond sight, the sky shines gold, not blue. There, the Triforce's might makes mortal dreams come true. Yeah, so it doesn't scan well, does it? On paper it rhymes. Sight, might, blue, true. Yeah, but in practice it doesn't. The imprisoning war, the coming of the wizard. And then it goes to the prologue. And there's just the art for Link in this is horrendous. It's very much similar to in the cartoon series, and it's him with his kind of weird bulbous nose and the god-awful haircut, frankly. I'm glad they changed his look. She telepathic pleads with you. Help me, my name is Zelda. I'm in the castle dungeon. Yeah, so there's a good few pages of intro. You can tell that this is SNES era gaming where a lot of the story was in the booklet. Prior to that, all the story was in the booklet. There was a gradual shift through the ages. Tells you how to save, which would have been new at the time, having different files, that sort of thing. All the subscreen nonsense, using the controller. Just how, like there's a paragraph on leaping down. Just walk at a space and you leap down. Amazing. Paragraph on talking, paragraph on reading. It tells you how to do all the sword wait, what? Oh. I was scanning through it. It said normal sword blows, whirling blade technique, and dashing attack at the bottom. I was like, is there something I don't know? And it's just about the Pegasus boots. Yeah, and getting the beam attack. There's massive spoilers in this game, I'm pretty sure of it. Oh, use your items carefully. The flute. What is the mysterious power of the flute's music? Once you've found the flute boy's avian friend, you can... Sorry, that was really hard to read. Once you've found the flute boy's avian friend, the bird, kind of looks like a duck. You can use the flute to summon him to take you to 8 different locations in Hyrule. Once you've found the flute boy's bird, play the flute and he'll appear. Yeah, doesn't tell you how to get the flute, doesn't tell you how to get the bird, but it tells you they're in there, which I like. And there's also got the Staff of Brianna, which is the one that puts a whirling thing around you, and the magic cape that makes you invisible and invincible. Press the Y button to activate the staff. Press the Y button again to deactivate. Both use magic power. I suppose it's interesting that those are 2 items that you kind of activate, so they are different. You might not realise you can turn them off, which would screw you, or you might think you press them to use them. A little bit about bottles, how to view the map, with kind of the map in there, sort of. The equipment screen. So this is all the stuff you can't, like, it's items you equip. It tells you a bit about them. Of particular note is the shield, because if you don't know how to use it, you might be confused. Power gloves and tightened mitt. It full on tells you stuff like that's in there. I suppose they have to, don't they? And the moon pearl. Editing and... Oh, ending and saving the game. Editing? You can edit? Continue without saving. Yeah. Is stuff on life and magic power. That's a whole thing. The magic shop. There's a section on potions in this. How pieces of heart work. It really tells you how the whole damn game works. Law of Hyrule. Sounds good. Hyrule is full of ancient secrets and unusual life forms. No one should venture into its wilderness without some preparation. So read some background lore before you set off on your adventure. Bushes. You will find rupees and hearts hidden away in these bushes. Is that lore? It's really just how the game works, isn't it? There's rupees, how shops work. The fortune teller. It was probably a big part of the game when you think about it, 'cause it really tells you how it works. The smithy's shop, where you get your sword built up. The blacksmith lives just a little to the east of Kakariko village. With his metalworking skill, he can improve even the master sword. However, he cannot do it himself, and his partner is now missing. Little hint of a quest there. The Pond of Happiness. That's where you pay money and eventually you get more stuff. Doesn't really tell you anything about it, but I suppose by putting it in there, it kind of makes it intriguing. Dungeon knowledge. Yep. About the pendants and the crystals. Doesn't really tell you much. Dungeon map. Yep, how to use that. Dungeon contraptions. Pots, keys and doors, fragile walls, crystal switches, manholes. Wait. There are many pitfalls and chasms in a dungeon which typically do not have fences around them. If you stray off the path and fall into a pit, you will sustain damage and return to the entrance of the room. There are also manholes. See below in the... yeah. If you fall into these, you drop down the floor. They're called manholes. Obviously. But I'd never consider calling that a manhole. And this is like the best part. Is the I've got to be very careful. I don't want to rip this. Is the item page. Which just tells you some of the items you get. Lantern, boomerang, bomb, pretty standard. Bottle, bug collecting net. You might see that in the manual and think, oh, is there like collect 100 different bugs? Not really. It's not much of a thing, is it? The Book of Medora. The monolith left by the Hylian plural, left by the Hylian people are inscribed with ancient script. If you find an inscription you cannot read, use this book and its meaning will become clear. Don't really say much. The bow. There's a whole paragraph on the bow. It feels unnecessary given that it's a bow. You know what it does. The mushroom. Magical powder. Magical mirror. Magic hammer. Bit of a common thread there, isn't there? Use this hammer to pound stakes and other obstacles into the ground. The magic hammer is also effective against some enemies, but it is best used in conjunction with another weapon. Little bit of intrigue there. The hook shot, the shovel, which is kind of a con. Oh, in fact, use this to dig holes in the ground. You cannot dig in some surfaces. You need this shovel to find the flute. It's kind of a bit blunt there, isn't it? Then the next item is the flute. A lonely lad will give you the flute, which plays a beautiful but slightly sad melody. When you're granted it, be sure to fulfill the request made of you. If you have the flute, it will make your long and difficult journey a lot easier. See that? I think that is probably not that well written. Because honestly, the lonely lad doesn't give you the flute. You dig it up. I think he might give you the shovel. And it doesn't make your difficult journey easier. It makes it possible. You absolutely need the flute to complete it. To get into at least 2 of the... possibly even 3 of the dungeons, thinking about it. Definitely 2. The ice rods, yeah, standard. The fire rod. The staff of Samaria. Staff of Brianna. The magic cape. The medallions, Bomber, Ethos and Quake. And that's it for that. Is that all of the items? Let me think. I think it is, looking at it. It doesn't have the upgraded items. So it's got the boomerang, but it doesn't have the magic boomerang. And it, aside from that, I think it has got all of them. It doesn't go into the upgraded equipment either. or like the upgraded bow, but it's pretty solid. And then then at the end is the sort of, all right, you're kind of an idiot, we're going to help you out a bit, here's how to play. Yeah, this is, in fact, it gives you instructions on just the first bit of the game, pretty much up to the Master Sword. There's some really cool artwork in here as well, which hopefully you'll be able to see. There's Link fighting Clayface there, which is cool. And there's him looking at the Tower of Hera, whatever. I feel these scenes were never fully realised until, well, I'm going to say Twilight Princess, but possibly even Breath of the Wild in some respects. And there's a little bit, a brief bestiary of Hyrule, just tells you a few of the enemies in there. Weirdly, it doesn't give like the biggest and most iconic enemy, which in my mind is the Knights of Hyrule that are wandering around. This page is ripped, so it's hard to read. Here in the last part of this tome, I will introduce you to a few of the adversaries in this adventure. However formidable these creatures may seem, they are bound to have weak points. Discover their weaknesses to make your attacks more effective. So there's what I want to call a Stalfos Knight, but in this it appears to be called a Stal, S-T-A-L-A. I think it's an L and an F and an O-S. There's a rip in the page going right through the name. I'm not an idiot, I can read. I think it's Stalfos, which may be what they're always called, and I've just missed out that middle syllable. This skeletal knight is stationed in the Ice Palace for God knows what reason. Even if you hit him with your sword, he always seems to come back to life. A sudden panic, my mic was turned off. He always seems to come back to life. You'll need some other weapon to deal this warrior the final blow. What could it be? Bombs. It's bombs. Or the Bomb Boss medallion. Ball and chain trooper. So many jokes, so little time. Nim controls all of Hyrule castles. So, you know what? The one thing this doesn't have is how to pronounce any of these words. That would have been useful. Aghanim's controls all of Hyrule's... Very hard to read this, sorry. Aghanim controls all of Hyrule Castle's soldiers, including this strong and skilled fighter. He guards Zelda's cell and other important areas of the castle and attacks with a whirling ball and chain. It's kind of the first mini-boss of the game, and then later on there's a few more of them about, but they're not that common. And they get really cool in Four Swords Adventure, don't they? Gibdos. This bandage-swathed menace is indeed powerful. It's the mummy from the third Dark World dungeon. It can withstand repeated blows from the sword without even slowing down. However, it is rumoured that it cannot stand fire. Somewhat true. And then, on the back, is one of my favourite enemies, because in the game I never realised what this was. It wasn't until I looked in the manual that I realised. So in the desert, I'll consult my map, the Desert of Mystery to be specific, there's an enemy that attacks you from the sand, but it never comes up past the shoulders, so you see its arms and its head, and it sort of comes at you. To me, it looks like a bit of rope is attacking you, but it turns out it's Geldman. This sandman lives beneath the shifting desert sands. He will jump out at you from the sand and strike at you unexpectedly. I believe in A Link Between Worlds they reappear and you can get them out of the sand and they're wearing a thong and they run off scared. But it's cool artwork. He looks exactly like... He looks like a wetter Sandman or a drier Clayface is how I would best describe his looks. The Hinox. This super strong monster is... You know what the Hinox is because they're in Breath of the Wild where they're named constantly. This super strong monster is rumoured to inhabit the Dark World. Not many references to the Dark World in here, but this is one of them. Although he is amazingly strong, he cannot withstand the very bombs that he throws. This is the Cyclops, the big bastards. Aim for the eye if you want to find his weak spot. They've got quite a weird attack, because they're big and strong, but they never really come at you, they just throw bombs. Aim for the eye if you want to find his weak spot. Can you actually do that? Can you hit him with a bow and arrow? That's how I'd assume would be to aim for the eye. Or that also a play, you know, if there's a Cyclops in the game, you aim for the eye, doesn't it? Doesn't matter how many eyes something has, the eye is the weak spot. Snapdragon. This strange creature was created at... Oh, this is intriguing. This strange creature was created as a result of a mad alchemist's plant experiments. He uses his tooth-filled maw to snap at anything that gets in his way as he hops about. I think these only appear in a Dark World as well, but I can't fully remember. In fact, I think there's a Dark World variant of them is what there is. But it's like the big plant mouth with legs, and it looks fucking hilarious in this, because the legs have shoes on, like human boots, which just adds to it. It's the Helmasaur, which are the little pig monsters with the iron masks on, and you fight the Helmasaur King in Dark World Dungeon 1. The tough armoured head of the small Saurian. Saurian? Is that... But there's no other reference to a Saurian in this. Can easily withstand sword blows. Your best chance is attacking from behind. And then Wizrobe. And the artwork for the Wizrobe is like a toned down version of Akhanim, which is odd. This wizard appears and disappears using magic. You can only damage him while he is visible. The Wizrobe attacks using magical beams of energy. I have never considered the idea that Wizrobes are turning invisible. In my mind, they teleport from one place to the next. But quite clearly they turn invisible, don't they? They turn invisible, get a spell ready, turn visible, fire it, and turn back invisible again. And the ones that don't move just stay where they are. The ones that do move clearly fire off the spell, then just walk somewhere else. I've just never thought about that before. I just assumed they teleported, but it says here they go invisible. And this is canon up until a point, or it was localized by the interns at the time. It's hard to tell, but it's a hell of a thing, this manual, particularly the first few pages. There is reams of data there. Look at all that information. It's not, I feel data is a strong word, but still, it's there. That's a full thing. There's more story in that than is perhaps in the game. No, it's a big game. There's loads of story in it, but it could have been. All right, I think that's it for today's Box of Wonder. There's still a lot going on in the box. For example, this. It's Jurassic Park. But that's for another time. I don't care about that one, do I? These are sacred, those not so much. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.